Hi! Within this section, we're going to write our own ARP spoofer, and in order to do that within this lecture, we're going to refresh our knowledge on man-in-the-middle attacks. So, as you may recall, within the previous section, we have built our network scanning tool in which we have mapped out all the network, all the connected devices with MAC addresses and paired IP addresses. Okay, and we have said that some hackers can use it to manipulate the data and have a man-in-the-middle position. So if you go back to our previous table in here, we have connected devices in a network, in a router, and we did some broadcast requests and we asked for who has this IP, and we got the responses and we matched the IP addresses with MAC addresses. Now let's suppose that we have a very simple setup like this. We have a router and we only have two machines in which we have the target machine and our Kali Linux hacker machine. So how can this hacker can be a man in the middle? It means that the middle position in which we get the data, request and response data from the target and forward it to router, and after that we can get these responses from the router and forward it back to the target, so that we would be in the middle and have an access to all these packets going on and on while target is surfing through the web. So we have to use ARP responses at this point once more. So there's a vulnerability in the ARP system, and let me tell you all about it. So we did some broadcasts previously, right? We asked who has this IP, and the device that actually has this IP got back to us with ARP response saying that I have this IP and I have this MAC address. The vulnerability is that you don't have to wait for a request in order to give a response. So what we'll do, this hacker machine will create a response without getting a request from anyone. And it will say to this router, I have this MAC address, and that MAC address will belong to the target. So the router will think that hacker machine is actually the target, right? So later on, this hacker machine will create another ARP response, and this time it will go to the target and say that my MAC address is this, and this will be the router's MAC address. So the target will think that hacker is actually the router, and the router will think hacker is actually the target. So our hacker machine will be in the middle of the connection. We will spoof our MAC address to be router when we talk with target, and to be target when we talk with router. So we will exploit this ARP vulnerability in a way that it connects us and it puts us in the middle of the connection, so we will have access to the all packets going through the internet. And maybe you realize that it is very easy to do that with Scapy module once more, because we had this source MAC address, we had this destination MAC address, values, properties, attributes, and keywords in ARP class in Scapy. So let's stop here, and within the next lecture we're going to start writing.